Okay, this is part 3 of the video about steel tongue drums and steel pans and handpan drums. And in this part I'd like to talk to you a little bit about note spacing and the note shape and why it can be important. So with a handpan drum, it's not so important, but you do still want to keep a good spacing because the handpan drums, the notes are not cut in like they are with a steel pan or a steel tongue drum. So, and also because of the really thin steel, the sustain on the note is very short. You hit the note and a second later the sound is gone. They're loud and they're beautiful. There's no question about it. And I love the sound of them. That Caribbean calypso sound is sometimes I really like to have it. So as you can see, I'm in the middle of trying to make some right now. So with these, it's not too important, spacing. But when we start to get into the thicker steel drums, like these, here the note shape is this simple, but rectangular shape, which is how a lot of the first drums were made. We were one of the very first manufacturers of steel tongue drums, and this was the note shape that we were using and everybody else is using. And it's okay. It's easy to use. It makes a big, wide, fat note. And this is a double. We cut it on both sides. We were the very, very, very first company to do a double-sided drum with notes on both sides. Later, other people followed us, but we were the very first ones to put this on the market. The drum has evolved, and now we're using stainless steel instead of low carbon, and we've changed the shape of the notes to this octagonal form, which is really kind of nice. One, because of the narrow tab, it makes it easier to activate the tab instead of the wide tab, which is harder to make that whole big thing move. So it's really easy to get the notes to activate. The second thing, and what is kind of important on this, is the note spacing, the distance between the notes. And it seems like a little thing, but it's actually kind of big, because when you hit a note, the whole drum vibrates. And if the notes are too close together, they're really close together, then when I hit this note, it'll activate the notes on both sides of it. So yes, I could squeeze in a bunch of notes. I could rearrange this and I could get 3 or 4 more notes. I could make it an 11 note, 12, might even be able to get 13 or 14 notes into it if I squeeze it tight enough. But the more notes I cut in it, the weaker I make the structure as a whole because of all the cuts. But also as I move the notes closer together, when I play one, it starts activating all the other ones. And it's kind of okay if you're just playing really slow. But if you're playing fast, you get the whole drum vibrating. All these notes will start activating if they're too close together. And you just end up with a lot of harmonic distortion that you're really not going to like. So having the notes too close together really affects the sound quality as a whole. And this is the reason why we limit our single vibe drum to just 9 notes. So again, this good note spacing in between. So when you look at the pictures of drums on the market for sale, look at this note spacing. If they're really close together, chances are you're going to get a lot of harmonic distortion between the notes, which is not a good thing unless you play the drum really slow, or if the drum is really thin steel and there's no note sustain on it, then it's kind of okay to squeeze them in together. Okay, that's a little bit about note shapes and note spacing.